This might sound arrogant, and if it is, we're Michigan.
I'm telling them it's not over. It's just starting. It's not over. It'll never be over here.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Bitter Rivals with Ted and Tom. I'm Tom Crawford, my partner Ted Fox, Michigan guy, the Michigan State guy, representing the passionate alumni and fans of these two universities. And now we're 4 games in, Ted. Obviously the Wolverines undefeated, impressive win over the San Diego State Aztecs. Michigan State, on the other hand, they have 3 wins, but none of them are at the quality level.
Hold on. First of all, #1 defense in the nation. You know, I take a look at the game film and I look at what's been out there. I don't have any problems with the defense.
Well, it's who they're playing, though. That's the issue.
Well, okay, fine. Let's get into Michigan's schedule then.
Okay, let's
talk
that.
about big, bad Michigan.
Let's do that.
And your brand new coach, Brady Hoke, who first thing in Ann Arbor tries to cancel his game against his old team, San Diego State. This is so typical Michigan. What they do to maintain their winningest program of all time is dodge the tough team.
Did they dodge
Your
him?
coach, John Beilein, did the same thing when he came in. He calls up Krzyzewski and say, hey, listen, we're not as good as we thought we were when we scheduled this game, so would you mind dropping us from the schedule?
Brady Hoke did not dodge San Diego State. The Aztecs
He tried to,
but it didn't happen. And what happened? The Wolverines knocked off the Aztecs 28-7, 21-0 halftime. And then the value of the first victory over Western Michigan got ramped up. Look what Western Michigan almost beat Illinois.
What victory?
They won. They won.
Three quarters. There's a whole other quarter that needs to be played.
Right.
And I suggest you play it at the end of the season.
Okay, it's 27-10. Michigan has the ball 1st and 10 on the 15-yard line, ready to go up 34-10. You think it's a ball game? Not.
Absolutely. You know those Broncos. They can come back on anybody.
You're right. Okay, Michigan State's win. I mean, I know Michigan. Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. Michigan State is my enemy, and I know them well, though. And I know they're lower going back 5 decades. I can never recall a weaker set of 3 wins than they have this year. When you're
all you have to do is go back to when Bo Schembechler was coaching your team, because he had powder puffs in every non-conference game.
Give me some examples.
And he got shamed into scheduling Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah, and they beat him first time out, 1978.
Still,
okay,
you've spent an entire millennium dodging tough competition.
Let's get back to 2011, this Michigan State team. Everybody was just building them up going in. The only decent team they played, Notre Dame. They got 20, and you always talked about pick your poison on this rushing attack with these 3 stellar running backs. 29 yards.
It was disappointing.
It
was disappointing, but
a team that Michigan
we held them to almost half total yardage that they got the previous week against your stellar defense.
Scoreboard.
275 versus 500 and counting. Total yards offense.
31-13, the only stat that counts. You got buried. 31-13. So we'll see what Michigan State does. They go down to Columbus. Again, they're playing Ohio State, which has some suspensions. So how lucky it is for Sparty. They don't have to play.
Oh, now here it comes. Oh, now that you have the suspensions, you better beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, just like I said against Notre Dame. And it worked, didn't it?
You know, this is one of those true rivalry games where you throw all the records out.
Michigan State, Ohio State's not a rivalry. You play them once every 3 years.
No, I'm concerned again. I mentioned this earlier. I'm concerned about the Ohio State game.
Oh.
I'm concerned about the Wisconsin game. And then there's that sandwich game in between where, if we're not on top of our game, Michigan could sneak up on us.
So you're not guaranteeing a double-digit laugher.
Hey, I did my guarantees. What do you guarantee?
I don't guarantee nothing.
Oh, yeah,
you don't
exactly.
Guarantee with college kids, you learn your lesson.
Total Michigan man. Never lay anything out ahead of time. But after the fact, boy, bring out the bells and whistles.
Sheer stupidity on your part a couple weeks ago.
Half of it was absolutely spot on.
Oh, my. Ridiculous comment. Ridiculous. Michigan State's not that good this year. Their offensive line is
We got
just
4
not
games
that
in.
good.
We got 4 games in. We got 8 more to go. let's just wait and see what happens.
At this stage is how I'm going to evaluate. They're just not that impressive. And what are they ranked right? Are they even ranked?
Yeah.
What are they ranked?
Top 25.
Yeah. Michigan's top 20. 19.
In which poll?
AP.
In which poll?
Okay, we're going to talk
Pick
more
your
about
poll.
that after this. Bitter Rivals, Ted and Tom. Life in Lansing.
It's good, you know, sometimes you get your little brother excited when you're playing basketball and stuff, let him get the lead, and then you just come back and take it back.
Welcome back, Bitter Rivals, Ted and Tom, our second segment here. And the partner, what's this thing?
Oh, you're wondering what this thing is. This just happens
Mr.
to
Media,
be
you did the...
my sideline pass to last week's
You were on the sideline?
MSU. Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I tried
How did you pull that one off?
I tried to go in. First of all, I tried to go in through the front door. I talked to the man here at our Global Empire in Life in Lansing. Asked if he could pull some strings and maybe get me up in the press pass. I didn't even dream about sideline pass. I got faced. He said, "Sorry, we got 2. You're not on the list."
So how'd you pull that one
Well,
off?
I worked my angles. Very good friend of mine and colleague of both of us, Mr. Chad Muntz, was very gracious in freeing this up. You wouldn't believe the looks I got on the sidelines. Like, now how did this guy get on the list? But I'll tell you something. As a member of the press, there's a whole unique aspect of watching the game from the sidelines. You can really break down the game much better, and you really get a sense of the tackling that's going on.
The punishment, the speed, the size.
Yep.
You can't get depth perception, though, especially if you're out, inside the red zone, the other side of the field, you're looking down the other way, you got to look up at the scoreboard.
Well,
That's a negative.
I do have to say that the sideline Nazi caught me one time.
Really?
I actually stepped over the dotted line onto the
Yes.
actual grass.
Yes.
Yep, and I was skirted back to the side.
I'll bet you were.
I was.
Because I'm sure you looked like a media vagabond out there.
But, I'd like to share with our audience some of the up-close and personal shots that I took from the sidelines as a legitimate reporter covering this game. Here's just a few of the things that I was able to capture with that unique perspective.
I don't know. My big question for you, Ted, did you sleep with that last night? Just embracing this whole vanity thing, vanity media.
Not just last night. I haven't taken it off since I got it. I'm thinking that, Jersey Boys is over there at Wharton Center. If it can get me into the sidelines of the football game, I should have backstage passes with the Jersey Boys.
Why not? One thing about the sidelines, though, you got to watch out.
You
have to focus. When you're on the sidelines, as many times as I've been on the sidelines, in my media days, particularly at the Houston Astrodome, covering the Houston Oilers, back in Love You Blue, you got to focus on what's around you, not the ball, because you can get taken out big time.
Well, yeah, and you notice that too. You want to put your head on a swivel as a member of the legitimate press. You would know that some of the rookies, you got to take them under your wing, and that's the other thing about. Let me say something. I got a little rant here about the legitimate press. Okay. They come off all neutral and, hey, I don't cheer for anybody. You ever seen the swag these guys get? Take a look around sometime with members of the legitimate press, and you'll see leather bowl game jackets. Now, I don't want to mention any names, Jack Ebling, but their hands in the till pretty deep.
I think that's a Final Four jacket, not a bowl jacket.
Oh, I stand corrected. Swag is swag, okay? My one piece of swag prior to this was a year-old pen from the Citrus Bowl in 2000. And I still got it, by the way.
Yeah, but anyway, it does give you a great perspective. Now you probably have to go scurry back in the stands over this. You had your one shiny moment.
As they say, I feel like Mateen Cleaves. I'm crying just thinking about it.
The other thing is that you'll notice, if you notice this at the end of the Michigan-Notre Dame game, is that you saw media jumping up and down, maybe at least photographer level, reacting to the catch. by Ray Roundtree. That's against the rule. John Lewandowski, that stuff drives him crazy at Michigan
By the
State.
way, John Lewandowski, would you start returning my emails? I've been emailing you for about a month and a half. Nothing, okay? As a member of the legitimate press, I think I have a right to communicate to the sports information director, all right?
And I would say Bitter Rivals with Ted and Tom is legitimate press, as you've seen in this episode and episodes prior. So I want you to stay with us for our third and fourth segments here of this week's version.
At least that's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Bitter Rivals, Ted and Tom at Life in Lansing.
They need to check themselves sometimes. But just remember, pride comes before the fall.
Anything specific?
Just here, pride comes before the fall.
Welcome back. Bitter Rivals, Ted and Tom here at Life in Lansing. And I want to take a critical poke, if you will, at Michigan State football, Ted, because of this. Over the years, the Michigan football program has been criticized, highly criticized, for Fort Schembechler not having access to players and stuff like that, having a controlled environment down there on State Street, okay? Well, what happens this week with this supposed open program, Michigan State, Mark D'Antonio, no access to players this week prior to the Ohio State game. So they're becoming, in my mind, very Michigan-esque, if you will. Maybe that's a compliment to the University of Michigan that they're following their act as far as big games, as far as making sure the players don't say the wrong thing.
Well, really, Tom, when you break it down, what D'Antonio's doing is no different than any team does in a true major rivalry game like we have coming up with Michigan State and Ohio State.
It's not a rivalry game.
You know, we didn't have any problem with Central Michigan or Notre Dame or anything like that. But when an Ohio State shows up on your schedule, when a Wisconsin shows up on your schedule, you know, you do clamp down because there's certain things that you're going to do that you don't want the media to expose. And in today's new media world, it's amazing how quickly it goes from the practice field to the internet.
You know, you talk about that rivalry, Michigan State, Ohio State. When I think of Michigan State, Ohio State, I think of 2006, where I had the luxury of sitting in your prestigious seats with you at that game.
Yep.
Okay? And at halftime, the entire Michigan State contingent down only 17-0, legitimately still in the game.
I think it was 24.
17-0.
No, I think it was 24-0.
17-0.
24-0. That's my story.
No,
I'm sticking to it.
17-0. Okay.
Well, listen.
They left.
Yeah.
They left.
I led the charge.
And you left, and I wanted to stay and watch Ohio State kick.
I led the charge.
I
I admit it freely, and you can all thank me. That was the beginning of the end of John L. Smith and the start of the Mark D'Antonio era. So thank you. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank me. You're welcome.
No, it's fair weather fans.
And by the way, we got home in time to watch Maglio crush it into the stands and send the Tigers to the World Series. So it worked out great. We got rid of John L. Smith, and I saw one of the Tigers' greatest moments in the last quarter century.
Okay. Another aspect of the Michigan State-Ohio State rivalry that I would like to make a comment on is that, yeah, I don't like Ohio State. I can't stand Ohio State.
Can you see this in the camera?
Okay, I cannot stand it. Cannot stand it. However, Michigan State, I disdain 10 times more because they're just all around me. So I'm hoping Ohio State kicks Sparty's butt this week. I'm going to really enjoy it. I don't think it's going to happen because this Ohio State team rather, is pretty, it's not that very good. So if State doesn't beat them by 21 points, they suck.
This is the beginning of 4 straight games of Michigan State's defense going against a versatile running quarterback. So it's going to be
you're tipping your hat to Denard Robinson, huh?
Listen, I have no beef at all with Denard Robinson. In fact, I think he's a pretty classy kid. And
really?
I'm serious.
Go on record.
There's nothing to hate.
Nice
unlike Mike Hart, who
he's out of the program. He's an EMU guy.
He's a punk.
He's an EMU guy anyway. Oh, yeah. He declared that.
Yeah. You embrace him when you want, and then you kick him to the curb when he gets a little out of hand.
He was in the NFL, and he had a couple carries for the Colts. Tell us all about it.
Cup of coffee. Yeah, stellar career.
Hey, that's all right.
So whose shoulder pads did he carry at the end of practice?
Not sure, but anyway, I'm honest when I'm saying it.
Isn't there a height limit in the NFL? I mean, you got to.
Okay, Mark D'Antonio.
Cannot be an NFL if you are not above this.
You can hide behind the lineman that way. Mike Hart was the greatest running back, all-time leading rusher at University of Michigan. Broke Jamie Morris's record, so there's a lot to be said for Mike Hart. Yeah, did he flap his gums a lot? Absolutely, but a lot of that goes on. And the thing about what really bothered me about that is Mark D'Antonio bought into that little banter, and I thought that was pretty low class.
In terms of the Michigan State rivalry, I'm thankful that yappy kid opened his mouth the way he did and really stoked up this rivalry because, as I recall, ever since then, Tom, I think it's 3-0.
And I think Mike Hart was 4-0 against Michigan State.
Hey, that's old news.
4-0. We'll be back after this. Bitter Rivals 10 times.
I thought you just said he's an EMU guy. Bring him in, kick him out. Bring him in, kick him out.
And welcome back to our final segment of this week's episode, Bitter Rivals with Ted and Tom. And we've been talking a lot, Ted, about Michigan State-Ohio State game, but the oldest trophy in college football, the most prestigious trophy.
And ugliest.
The Battle of the Little Brown Jug takes place this Saturday down in Ann Arbor. Michigan, Minnesota. Obviously, the Wolverines are going to be heavy favorites in that game. They could be 5-0. 5-0!
You better be 5-0 against
Been that way the
Minnesota
last
team. It just got clocked by South Dakota.
Yeah, well, North Dakota State rather.
North South.
Same thing.
They
squeaked
over there in the area of the country no one cares about.
They got past Miami of Ohio. This is not, but they almost beat USC. But then we found out USC is not a very good football team. Arizona State had their way with them.
So, Tom, break it down. How much is Michigan going to win by, and how much are you willing to go on the line to guarantee that?
Well, I don't bet. I think that's not appropriate.
Rivalry game, throw all the scores out.
I think Michigan. I'm still. Hey, listen. There's still a lot of question marks on Michigan's both sides of the ball, offense and defense.
I think they're going to win. They're a top 20 team.
I think they'll win by 14 to 17 points, somewhere in that range. I feel.
So it's going to be a laugher.
I don't use a verbiage laugher, things like that. These are amateur athletes.
Force me to use it, but you don't use it.
No, you use it, so I reel it in.
Typical Michigan. Never put yourself on the line before the game. If things just so happen to turn out well after the game, you're leading that parade.
Well, I
thought I told you so.
I kind of keep tight to the vest until after the season's over with, and then if there's something to flaunt, then I'll flaunt it. But I don't want to hang myself out there prior to that.
You don't want to take any risks.
Yeah.
That's why you're 18-0 against Albion.
Hey, I got to ask you, have you stoked up that picture parody aspect here at Better
I'm glad you mentioned that, Tom, because we have a winner for our very first picture parody. And Drew, can we put that up, the picture itself? And the winning caption for our very first picture parody. Hi, I'm B.J. Cunningham. Even record-setting receivers need to pay attention to their health. That's why I want to remind you to get your prostate checked regularly. And the winning poster for that is Ted Fox.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Congratulations.
A member of the legitimate press, no less.
Nice work, man.
Hey, Drew, would you tell us what Ted won for this week's picture parody?
A new car! The Dodge Magnum with rear-wheel drive comes with standard equipment including a 190 horsepower V6 engine, 4-speed automatic transmission, and plenty of cargo space, plus engine block heater, paint and fabric protection. The Dodge Magnum!
Outstanding! Hey, I can do this stuff on my own. I got no problem being the winner week after week after week. But I challenge you guys. Drew, it's not just great first prize gifts. Tell us about second and third prize.
Rado, anybody want to see second prize? Second prize, a set of steak knives. Third prize is you're fired.
There is no second and third prize. You either go for the top or go home. Tom?
You've challenged all of us, so I might participate as well. I like a new car.
Can't wait to see that.
My sense of humor is every bit as good as yours, if not better.
in typical self-proclaimed Michigan fashion.
Anyway, next week should bring some more banter to work with after Michigan State gets thumped by Ohio State, and then what has happened to Sparty? They have a bye week before Michigan. They take the week off to prepare for Michigan, and that's happened quite a few times, and that fly is really pissing me off right now. Anyway, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what they say? It's like flies to...
Anyway, that's pretty convenient for Michigan State to have a bye week, whereas Michigan goes on the road against Northwestern.
Here at Bitter Rivals, we're going to have some fun with that bye week, and we're going to go out on the road and experience some of the great things about what we both the greatest states in these United States.
We are going to do that on bye week?
I'm going to do it.
Oh, okay. I might go down to Evanston. Who knows? That'll be a big game. Michigan, and it's at prime time, 7 o'clock on the BTN. Everybody be watching that game. And
everybody who's got BTN.
And that'll be a tough out for Michigan. And then to go undefeated in the Michigan State game on October 15th.
Oh, so you're predicting Michigan's going to be undefeated going into the sandwich game?
They got a really good shot at it. Of course, it does remind me of a couple of years ago, the same situation.
1999.
Well, actually in 2009, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
the last when Tate Forcier was the quarterback.
Yeah.
His freshman year. Michigan State, and that game went into overtime. Michigan played like crap that whole game, hung around. It's the house of hell. I mean, it's a tough place to play. Spartan Stadium's a tough place to play.
We're
not going to get ahead of ourselves.
We'll have plenty of time to talk about that game in the coming weeks.
Yeah, especially with your bye week. You'll have 2 weeks to really just stew into that. So.
Well, who knows where I may end up during that bye week.
Wow, you think
you think this can get me on golf courses up north?
I don't think it can get you into the
Albion
Adrian game. You know, that was just a lucky whim that you got there. That's not going to happen to you again. So
it's called connections, my friend.
Love to know what those connections were, but we'll talk about that another time. Anyway,
Chad, I owe you.
Stay tuned. Next week we'll be back. Bitter rivals Ted and Tom to embrace the rivalry, talk some more, and see how the Wolverines did against the Gophers and the Spartans did against the Buckeyes. We'll see you next week.
Go Green.
Rivalry has gone. It's gone, well, frankly, to the billboards. Check out what we found out last night. Near the Frandor Shopping Center in East Lansing, a digital billboard ripping Michigan just every way you can, minutes after the game. It's sponsored by Bitter Rivals, who started a website called MichiganIsOurLittleSister.com. There are 8 different images, and they will be up all week in Frandor and one on I-96. Bitter Rivals paid a few $1,000s for those, and you can get all sorts of mementos if you go there. Really? If you're really into the little sister thing and you really want to rub it into your Michigan fan.
All right.
They got it covered.
Well,